I am not on this committee for one term. My voice will get louder and stronger, and my leadership will be celebrated around the world as it has been.
You know, when you argue with a fool, you just prove there are two. And I consider Congresswoman Omar, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, Congresswoman Tlaib, Congresswoman Presley, I think is her name. They call themselves the Squad. I consider them to be fools. There are a lot more important issues in front of the United States Congress and the American people than who tweets what to whom. If you're not happy living in America, leave. It's a free country, and I agree with that assessment.
Welcome back to the channel. Everyone, we just caught that opening clip of Senator John Kennedy. And man, does that man have a way of cutting through the noise. You heard him. He didn't stutter. He called out the Squad, specifically Ilhan Omar, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, and Ayanna Presley. And he called them exactly what they're acting like. Fools. Kennedy has this incredible ability to use plain, common sense English to highlight the absolute absurdity we are seeing in Washington right now. The exchange we just saw is the perfect example of why so many Americans are fed up. On one side, you have a senator standing up for the core values of this country, and on the other, you have a group of radical politicians who seem to spend every waking hour trying to tear down the very nation they were elected to serve. It is honestly mind-blowing to watch the Squad foolishly team up against the interests of average Americans, choosing instead to push agendas that feel completely foreign to the hard-working people in the heartland. They act like a united front, but it's a front that seems dedicated to highlighting everything they think is wrong with America rather than building it up. Senator Kennedy is hitting the nail on the head here because he's pointing out the massive disconnect. These people are in positions of immense power, yet they use that power to bash the origins of our country and claim it's wicked. It's a total circus. And frankly, it's refreshing to see someone like Kennedy refuse to play their game. We are going to dive deep into the full video and talk about why his take on their behavior and the consequences they are finally facing is so spot on. But before we get into the meat of this, if you are as tired as I am of these political games and you want more of the straight talk, do me a huge favor. Smash that subscribe button, hit the like, and ring that notification bell. Let's get into the rest of the video.
There are a lot more important issues in front of the United States Congress and the American people than who tweets what to whom. So let me say it one more time. I thought in the president's original tweet, I thought it was a poor choice of words. I think I know what the president meant, and he clarified later and said, look, if you're not happy in America, leave. Just leave, and I agree with that. But his original articulation of that concept, in my opinion, fell short of the mark. Number two, frankly, I don't know why the president felt the need to tweet on this subject at all. You know, when you argue with a fool, you just prove there are two. And I consider Congresswoman Omar, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, Congresswoman Tlaib, Congresswoman Presley, I think is her name. They call themselves the Squad. I consider them to be fools. They hate America. They think America was wicked in its origins, and it's even more wicked today. They ought to be thanking America instead of calling America evil and wicked and racist. But this is America, and they have the right to their opinion. But I don't like to see the president even dignify their point of view. Besides that, I think that the Squad, as they call themselves, they are destroying the Democratic Party. You know, when your opponent is screwing up, don't interrupt him. Let him go. I mean, just looking at this from a political standpoint, if I didn't know better, I would think the members of the squad were GOP plants. I mean, they think that illegal immigration, socialism, higher taxes, abortion are all moral goods. They think America, Israel, free enterprise are moral bads. That's not what most Americans believe. And that's kind of where I am on the subject. The president has explained his position. He has said, look, here's what I meant. If you're not happy living in America, leave. It's a free country, and I agree with that assessment.
If I am not on this committee for one term, my voice will get louder and stronger, and my leadership will be celebrated around the world as it has been.
Today's resolution, as it relates to Representative Omar, details 6 statements she made as a sitting member of Congress that under the totality of the circumstances disqualify her from serving on the Committee on Foreign Affairs.
Don't tell me this is about consistency. Don't tell me that this is about a condemnation of anti-Semitic remarks when you have a member of the Republican caucus who has talked about Jewish space lasers and an entire amount of tropes and also elevated her to some of the highest committee assignments in this body. This is about targeting women of color in the United States of America. Don't tell me, because I didn't get a single apology when my life was threatened.
The representative can say whatever the heck she wants, but we don't have to accept it or embrace it. Individuals who hold such hateful views should rightly be barred from that type of committee.
This institution is better because of her leadership, and the Foreign Affairs Committee benefits from her perspective. So let's talk about what's really happening. Republicans are waging a blatantly Islamophobic and racist attack on Congresswoman Omar. And I've said it before, I will say it again. The white supremacy happening is unbelievable. This is despicable.
We're not removing her from other committees. We just do not believe when it comes to foreign affairs, especially the responsibility of that position around the world with the comments that you make. She shouldn't serve there.
Wow. After watching that whole segment, it is even clearer why Senator Kennedy is such a hero to so many people. He doesn't hide behind teleprompters or focus group talking points. He just says what everyone at home is thinking. The squad thinks they can run circles around the American public with high-minded rhetoric. But Kennedy just calls it like it is. One of the most powerful things he said was that these women act like they hate America. And when you look at the evidence, it's hard to argue with him. He mentioned how they think America was wicked in its origins and is even more wicked today. Think about how heavy that is. You have sitting members of Congress who view the United States as an evil entity. How can you possibly represent a country on the world stage, especially on something as sensitive as the Foreign Affairs Committee, if you fundamentally believe the nation you're representing is a bad guy? It's a complete contradiction. Kennedy's point about the president's "leave if you're not happy" comment is also a classic piece of common sense that the media loves to twist. It's not about being unwelcoming. It's about the fact that this is a free country. If you truly believe, as Ilhan Omar often suggests, that this country is a nightmare of systemic oppression and evil, then why stay? Why fight so hard to be part of a government you despise? It feels more like they want to dismantle the system from the inside rather than improve it for the people. And let's look at how the public sees this too. I came across a post from someone named the 1776 from December 2025 that really backs up this sentiment. The post mentions how Ilhan Omar overplayed her hand, essentially trying to rob Americans blind, while people like Tim Walz stood by. It points out that she will never truly fit in with the traditional Democratic Party because her views are so far outside the mainstream. That matches exactly what Kennedy was saying, that the squad is actually destroying the Democratic Party from within. They are so radical that they make regular Democrats look like GOP plants. When your policies are so extreme that you're advocating for open borders and socialism as moral goods while calling free enterprise evil, you've lost the plot. The reaction from AOC in the video was also telling. She immediately jumped to the racism and Islamophobia card. It's the same old script every time they face accountability. But as we saw in the House floor debate, this wasn't about her identity. It was about her specific, documented statements. You can't use anti-Semitic tropes and then cry foul when people say you shouldn't be on the Foreign Affairs Committee. There was another post I saw from April Company in September 2025 that really hits on this hypocrisy. She pointed out how AOC didn't condemn Ilhan Omar's disgusting remarks, but instead chose to mock Republicans and minimize other serious issues. This is exactly what Kennedy is talking about when he says they team up. They protect each other regardless of how wrong the behavior is. When people show you who they are, you have to believe them. AOC and the squad have shown us time and again that their loyalty isn't to the American standard of conduct, but to their own